content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Oh my God, it's that time of the week, Elio! Yes, boys and girls, it is Wrestling POV Global. I'm your host, the legend TJ Logan. With me, my standing upright because I think he might not be totally drunk. He is a gentleman, as you know him, Elio Canella. Elio.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
My favorite bag of sleaze. How are you been doing this week, buddy?
I'm doing great. I had a long weekend.
A long weekend. Is that some kind of sexual reference you're trying to make to some escapade of yours?
I was away all weekend. I got in at 11:30 a.m. yesterday morning.
Now, is it true that you have hoes in every postal code? Were you off getting the exotic girls of America? Is that what you were doing, Elio?
How did you guess?
I didn't guess. I read the news report. Dude. Yeah, you really got to watch out. TMZ has been hounding me.
Oh no!
They've been hounding me for an exclusive about you. You're my partner, so I want to. I mean, dude, there is doctors you can talk to who can deal with this problem of yours. But I don't know. These people at TMZ, they are eating this up. And you went into the States. You went crazy. You had a 3-day orgy or whatever you called it, business meeting. But at least you got some wrestling. Wrestling wasn't the only thing you were cramming, right? You were cramming some wrestling in, right?
I was. I got a whole lot of shows watched in between yesterday and today.
Wow, one eye on the screen, one eye on a girl. You're amazing, Elio. Folks, if I had this vigor and, well, the budget for that much alcohol, I don't know what I'd do with myself, to be honest. Anyhow, Elio, say hello to the good friends out there.
What is going on, people?
Well, you know what? What is going on is... it's happening, isn't it? You can feel it in the air. Mm-hmm. There is I don't know if we're going to say a war, but there's definitely some battle brewing.
Yep.
AEW is stirring the pot, and WWE is not content to just wait back. They're stirring the pot even harder. Not only, we got AEW next month debuting with a television show, a weekly television show on a network, and then WWE going around and putting NXT up against them at the same time on another network. This is some exciting stuff, man.
Well, 1 month earlier.
Now, you know what? The whole thing, this whole thing is slightly confusing, folks, because I don't even know what to think about this. I mean, in the beginning, there's a lot of support, obviously, for AEW with the fans. Mm-hmm. That's true. The chance that the idea that they got onto national television sounds super exciting, right? But with WWE counter-programming and using NXT, which is probably the one product WWE is probably as close to what AEW wants to be, this is tough, man. I worry about AEW. Yep. I don't know how long this war is going to go. I was talking to Rick Serrano III over on Global. Mm-hmm. Over on the other show, Wrestling POV, which, by the way, you can find every Saturday on MySpace, RoboNew. No. What is it?
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher.
Stitcher? I thought that was for old ladies who did, clothing repair. Okay, Stitcher, sure. Why not? But, anyways, I was talking to Rick, and I said, Rick, I'm a little bit concerned when I see, oh, man. We're going to talk about it this week, folks. We're going to talk about the AEW pay-per-view. We're going to talk also about just even the NXT UK pay-per-view. Yeah. And I got to tell you, the quality between these shows varied. They varied a lot. And it makes me a little bit worried about AEW. I'm just going to say that out now. But before we get started talking about some AEW stuff, let's talk about, this week we started a poll. And it's kind of funny. Our original intention, folks, was to do sort of a poll A, poll B, where we were going to have the same topic discussed in the second part. But you know what? Something crazy happened. And what it was we did our first poll, but then the night of the AEW pay-per-view, when Chris Jericho actually captured the title, there was a flurry of people talking on the internet. And instead of going on with our original idea for the second part of the poll, we went and started a whole second poll, which dealt with Chris Jericho. But let's go back to that first poll. The first poll that we had stated, we wanted to know about, now originally it had been advertised and promoted that Kenny Omega would be facing Jon Moxley. Yep. Jon Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose.
Yes.
So here we had two pretty big names in sort of a kind of a dream match, I think, for fans. But at the last moment, Jon Moxley, as we reported last week, had injured himself, could not compete, couldn't even actually travel to where the pay-per-view was, so he wasn't going to be a part of the show at all. So the last minute, AEW substituted the match and brought in Pac, the former, what was his name in WWE?
Adrian Neville.
Neville.
Yep.
Adrian Neville, the man Gravity Forgot, is that what he was?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah.
Yes.
So they substituted him and started advertising as he would be the substitute in this. And I thought, when I first saw this, I like Pac. He calls himself Pac now. I like Pac. But in my mind, I thought, ooh, is this kind of a step down? Because, people who remember Pac, remember, he has been around for a long time. We've covered him in some indie stuff, but let's face it, he hasn't been in the WWE in a long time. He was a cruiserweight. And Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose is a former big-time champion, so in the heavyweight division. So we asked you folks, is this the worthy substitution of Pac for Jon Moxley? Is it awesome choice, or was it weak sauce? What did you think going in, Elio? What did you feel? Was it awesome, or was it weak?
I went with a good choice, because it's been a while since we've seen Pac, so it was good to see him again.
Okay. I went with weak choice because I felt that Moxley had a name at least and a recognition that would bring more people in. And I felt that Pac, who people hadn't... let's face it, if I didn't follow the indies whatsoever, but I knew who Kenny Omega was, I obviously would know who Dean Ambrose / Jon Moxley is. Then if you tell me that you're substituting Dean Ambrose for Neville, for the mid-heavyweight dude who hasn't been around forever, I would not have thought that was a good choice.
Okay.
We threw it out to the fans. 69% of you said it was an awesome choice. 31% of you...
Drinks on me.
31% said it was weak sauce. Now, we're going to go over some of the comments here. One comment, which I thought was just ridiculous. I thought this was pretty obvious. Simon Christopher Davis says, "What are we basing this off of?"
Yeah, I saw that.
And I thought, okay,
you're not answering the question.
If you are kind of simple-minded and you can't read what's exactly in front of you, I even put a little paragraph up there. And then after I wrote it, I thought, why did I waste my time with this moronic answer? But what I put was, this is purely based on public perception. No one is right or wrong. We want to know before the pay-per-view how this change of wrestlers is perceived by the fans. Remember, I didn't get why he bothered asking that question because I thought it was pretty evident in the thing. So we don't have hater of the week, but if we have moron the week, he gets it. Okay? All right. Moving on. Nick Myers said it's going to be a barn burner. Okay, well, does that mean he picks that the new...
That doesn't
See, you're not very clear,
question.
Nick. Yeah, that's not very clear. Does that mean Pac's going to be the barn burner
What's going on
here?
here?
Okay.
We ask questions and people don't answer them.
I don't know. Rick Ackerman did the brilliant yawn. Wow. Yawn. I'm going to take that as he thought that Neville was a boring choice. I don't know. Jose Gonzalez replied to Rick Ackerman and said, "You probably remember the good old days when Hulk Hogan was fooling people into thinking he could wrestle in the 80s. I don't know where they're going with this shit.
What's going on?
What's going on? Rick Ackerman says to Jose Gonzalez, "No, I actually remember how Pac didn't want to put aside his ego to do his job in 205 and is still under the impression that he's better than the business. Kenny Omega will carry him in this match and won't nearly live up to its hype. I may be old, but been watching wrestling a long time and appreciate a good match. Just do not think this is it. Would have been much rather..." There we go. Okay, thank you, Rick Ackerman. At least you made it a little more evident that you would rather have seen Moxley. And that's right, folks. There's some people had that thing. C.A. Claiborne says Pac is better than Mox, so yeah. Okay. Dallas Kanitsky said this was the best match outcome possible. So, okay, yeah, he thought, this is the best. Steve Denny brought up a great thing here, which we're going to discuss when we get into it. Great match, no storyline. And then Chris Hoft says, I think it would be better than Mox versus Omega. To be honest, prefer Pac, but that's just me. Well, you know what? 69% of you preferred Pac, so it looks like that wasn't such a bad choice.
Please, drinks are on me.
Drinks are on you. Well, dude, you have so much alcohol going through your house that the drinks should always be on you. And what do you mean on you? They're in you most of the time. All right. So now we were wondering about, at the time we made that poll, we were wondering what people thought afterwards. But like I said, the Chris Jericho winning the belt rippled across the internet. There was a lot of negativity. We weren't sure. We shot it out there. Is it a good choice or a poor choice? Elio, in your mind, was this a good choice, the right choice, putting the belt on Jericho, or was it a poor choice putting it on Jericho?
Okay, so here's what I think. Of course, I wanted Adam Page to win, but I think Jericho was the better choice because Jericho will pull viewers in for the company when AEW makes its debut on TNT. So I think it was the right choice. You know what?
I can agree with you too. I think it was the right choice just because name value alone. I mean, they're starting off a TV program. If you start off this TV program with people who don't watch much indie wrestling and you say, hey, our champion is Adam Page, you might be like, who? But if you said Chris Jericho, if you're any kind of wrestling fan, you know who Chris Jericho is. 79% of you said that was a right choice. 21% of you said it was a poor choice. Now let's take a look at some comments here.
Oh, okay.
Josh Sanders says, I'm with Corbin. Jervin look. Oh, this was kind of funny. Okay. I got to agree with some of the comments that were in here because, okay, one guy said, I'm with Corbin. Jericho looked like Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler. Thought Hangman made way more sense. Jericho needs to get in better shape to be taken as a heavyweight champion seriously. But, let's face it, like I said, maybe Hangman would have been made more sense, but he doesn't have that name value. That being said, though, man, Jericho did not look in the best shape. He looked like an old man.
He looked terrible.
And if you ever saw The Wrestler, he actually did look like the Mickey Rourke character. Daniel Fryer.
I have seen the movie.
Yeah. Daniel Fryer said, well, considering enough fans complain about older talent taking a spot from younger talent, I honestly think it was a poor choice. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So Josh Sanders put on here a little thing that said, so for all the shit WWE gets about having older guys go over younger talent, friendly reminder that the current AEW World Champion will be 49 in November. Now, I like Jericho, but keep that same energy. Ooh.
Oh.
Good point.
Okay.
John Sendard also, we're going to skip that part, but, Josh Sanders says, it's clear okay, it says, he basically goes on to say that Jericho needs to retire.
Okay.
And somebody named Viper the American Ninja, which I bet you is not his real name, says doesn't matter.
Not what we were asking.
Yeah, obviously some bitter people here who it's wrestling. There always has to be. Now here's one. I threw that question out to my old fan base in Canada. I had a wrestling fan I used to know quite a bit named Doug Quigley who wrote, and I think this is how I felt too. He said Jericho is a legend. Giving him the title now will help AEW right now with his face and name at the front of. Yes, he is long in the tooth now, but it might be beneficial to give him a strong run and to go out with glory, putting a younger worthy talent over. It can help the show attract more new viewers. And I agree. I mean, I don't see how Adam Page isn't the guy who actually defeats him in there at the end, you know?
They're going to get their time. You can't rush everything all at once.
James Bingham said, this is smart business since AEW is a new company. Having Jericho as champion would be a good draw to bring in the fans. Once again, I agree with that very strongly. Dwayne asks us, why not have him win have him win. He's an old man and that face that will draw some interest. Very true.
And then we have Chris Hall says he doesn't need a title to draw money. Money is Jericho.
Good point too. But I think with a new company, it probably should have the champion be somebody you know, right?
Yep.
Steve Crane says, biggest name in the company, bring views over, makes sense. And Vince Marshall also put, plus he's good at putting over good talent. That is also true about Jericho. And the last comment we had on here, Colin Bellini says, if you're a wrestling fan just hearing about AEW, what would bring you in more? 1, Adam Page is the AEW champion. 2, Chris Jericho is the AEW champion. It's a no-brainer, guys. Bring in the viewers, then do your own thing. Just like how Moxley will probably beat Omega, is to gain viewers. Hangman and Omega will be on top soon enough. They both know what's best for the business. People need to calm down. True.
Exactly.
True.
Stop bitching and complaining about every little thing.
Now, before we go on...
You know what I think? Hold on.
What? Go on.
What I think fans today just need to sit down, shut their mouth, and just watch wrestling the way it was meant to watch as a fan.
Well, you know, I recently saw a clip that I think really encapsulates what we should be thinking about here, and that was CM Punk being interviewed recently at WrestleCon.
Starcast.
Or Starcast,
oh, WrestleCon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was there, and he said the comment basically is like, you know what? Don't give in to this crap. You don't need to just support the WWE. You don't need to just support AEW or whatever thing. Enjoy it all. Watch all of it. Enjoy it. And he's right. He's right.
Be a fan. Be a fan. Watch it as a fan. Stop picking every little thing.
Now, you know what? Let's. We talked about this ahead of time. We said, what are we going to do for next week's poll? And Elio gave me the most obvious poll in the world. So next week's poll, ladies and gentlemen, what was the better show to watch? Was it the AEW pay-per-view or was it the NXT UK pay-per-view? I know we're going to do NXT UK. Now we're going to go over both of these shows ourselves, and we're going to give our opinions at the end what we thought. But folks, we want to know what you thought. All right? So stay tuned. We're going to do a little bit of news, and after the news, we're going to do a little bit of AEW, and then after the break, we'll talk some NXT UK, and we'll talk a bit about the other shows we usually watch, and we'll end it on a high note this week. So, all right, let's get into some news. Now, we've changed the format slightly, and I want to explain that to fans. You know, we've been chugging along with this format, but the landscape of wrestling is going to change next month. It's going to change. And we are going to have to change with it. Next month, AEW is going to now be a regular show with a weekly thing. And we're going to be judging it, looking at it, going over it. And, which means it's going to force us probably to watch NXT. And in our minds, we may not discuss much about it, but we're still going to compare them and see how this so-called battle is going to go. And so that leaves the room. And so, folks, we're probably not going to be covering too much of ROH in depth anymore for a while. Our ROH, we've discussed this over the last couple of weeks, has been slowly kind of diminishing in its not only quality, but its relevance, I guess. But you know what? We're still big fans of MLW, and we're still fans of NXT UK and New Japan, and we're still going to cover those companies because, New Japan is the reason I started doing this whole thing to begin with. So let's talk some news. And the news this week, we're going to talk about some of the things that are going on in said companies around us. First of all, I know in ROH, I know we're not going to be covering them too much, but there's still some news we should talk about in there. The two big storylines that are coming together, things that are really looking big here, is keep an eye on. There seems to be a lot of tension between Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. These guys have been partners. They've been, Gresham has been mentored by Lethal, but there seems like Gresham is not digging what Lethal's been shoveling out, and it seems like this could be an explosive thing to happen between these two coming up. Also, really big on the horizon, it looks like Matt Taven has definitely got he not only has to worry about Jeff Cobb, but he also has Roosh coming after him. And there seems to be a lot of heated tension between Roosh and Matt Taven right now. So that is something to keep an eye on. Over in MLW, one thing I definitely have to talk about is they finally showed us in this week's episode of who the fourth man was going to be to join Tom Lawler and the Von Erichs to fight the Contra unit. Now, I predicted a week before anything was ever said who I thought would be the most logical and who I thought I wanted to see, and it turns out that's who they went with, and that was Low Key. So that's going to be pretty darn exciting to see Low Key, Tom Lawler, and the Von Erichs taking on the Contra unit. I think something has to be done with the Contra unit. They got to be put in their place, man. These guys have been running roughshod over everybody.
Yep.
So NXT UK, well, we're going to get into the news about that when we get into, we'll talk a tiny bit about the show, but we're going to mostly talk about the pay-per-view this week. But let's talk now about AEW's show, All Out.
All right.
All right. So, Elio, I know you got a chance to watch this. I got a chance to watch this. Going in, did you have high expectations for this show?
I wasn't sure what to expect from this show. It was kind of a bit of both, yes and no. Yeah, but more lower because the past shows haven't been the best. So I had more lower expectations for this one.
Okay. I was going in a bit trepidatious because, let's face it, this is a big card before they launch with the show. And would this be an indication of what we're going to see? Would this be, because I got to say, before this pay-per-view, I've got to say, for the AEW shows, they started off on a pretty darn good keel, and it seems each show has gotten progressively weaker as an overall. Yeah. And I'm not talking individual matches. I mean, there's tremendous matches on almost every card. But as an overall, each card was getting weaker.
And there are a lot of weird stuff on the shows as well.
Yeah, stuff where you'd be like, you didn't care about stuff where you're like, I don't know, let's go over this pay-per-view anyways, all right?
Okay.
All right. I guess we'll cover the pre-show. The pre-show had, first of all, a battle royal with 21 women, and Nyla Rose wins and will be advancing to the AEW Women's Championship match. Now, I was discussing with you before we got on just a tiny bit because I wanted to handle this without sounding, I don't know. I guess this is a kind of a sensitive topic in some ways. And so it's kind of weird that this is thrown into the wrestling, in the wrestling eye view here. Basically, Nyla Rose, for most people who may not have followed closely enough, is a transgender man who is now transitioning into a woman. And Nyla Rose is quite a bit bigger than a lot of the women currently competing. I mean, sure, there's the occasional Awesome Kong and a few other large women. But Nyla Rose was at one time a very big man who's now a very big woman. It's an interesting choice. I mean, in some ways, it brings a lot of idea of the newness and the inclusion and the hipness that is AEW. But I also think it opens up some kind of... It's problematic in the sense of this. And I'm just talking straight up. I have no problems with transgender people. I have no problems with any sexual orientation. Whatever you do is your own, okay, folks? I don't got a problem with that. The problem I have with just this little part is the fact that wrestling is basically a sport fantasy, right? And the whole fantasy is revolved around taking the fantastical and trying to break it down into the point where it makes sense as a realism. You're making it almost real, even though it's not. Well, it is real, but you know what I'm getting at, Elio. But here is the problematic part, is by throwing this in now, it's sort of like today in the Olympics, where if you're a transgender man who is transitioning into a woman, you are not eligible to compete in women's competitions. Why? Because you are naturally bigger. You naturally have much more testosterone in you, which gives you much more strength, much more endurance. So in some ways, Nyla Rose has too much of an unfair advantage here. I almost wonder if instead they had made themselves like an actual open title, where you could be any height, weight, sexual orientation, gender, whatever. The free-for-all, whoever enters that, and that would be the person. I'm not saying let's make a transgender belt. I'm saying let's make a belt that you go in, you know that you're going up against people who could be just about anything, have any kind of strength, any kind of advantage or disadvantage. That might be a little fair. I'm not sure how fair it is that a woman like, say, Britt Baker, who made it to the finals, who is she's an average-sized woman, very athletic, well-trained, but she was just no match for the strength and the power that Nyla Rose naturally carries. So for me, that was a bit tough, okay? Just because of the fact is, who's going to beat her now? Who's going to beat Nyla Rose? You know? What did you think of that match?
Well, it was an okay match. There were a few surprises, like Neil Dashwood showed up. We had Priscilla Kelly in there, but Nyla Rose winning, me was just like any other match.
Yeah. What do you think of the outcome?
Actually, I really wasn't expecting her to win. I went with Brandy Rhodes.
Yep, that you did. You went with Brandy Rhodes. You know what? I almost
We went
forgot.
with Britt Baker.
Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about this right at the end. It slipped my mind now, but we didn't talk about the pay-per-view points game.
Yeah, we forgot about it.
Yeah, we were all so much wrapped up and stuff. You know what? We're going to talk about it right after we talk about this. And just as a quick preview, that shady character, Rick Serrano III, did not even come close to being... He has been dethroned, deposed, dirt kicked in his face, his underwear pulled up his back like a wedgie. He's been schooled and swirling.
No, wait. Hold on. Was it just a wedgie? Was it the atomic wedgie?
It was an atomic wedgie, buddy. And you know what the best part is? Me and you came in like was it 5th and 6th or something?
Third and fourth.
We kicked butt, man.
I know, I was surprised.
There was nobody who who from the other show, from the wrestling POV, nobody came anywhere near me and you. We kicked butt, buddy. Well, so you know what? I'm going to go on to the next match now. Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans. It was an okay match, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure what I expect. You know, Jack Evans tends to be the kind of match where it's all spot monkey stuff or it's normal. This was an okay match. It wasn't anything great.
I'm not sure what to think about the Private Party. These two guys. I think at the end, of course. Sorry, go on.
No. At the end, go on. No,
I was going to say at the end, of course, you had Angelico and Jack Evans attacking them.
Now, I really think the Private Party is going to be like an AEW product. I think they're really going to push these guys. They're going to be regulars. Okay. I just see that. It's something about that. So let's get into now to the main pay-per-view, okay? And
all right.
Now we had SoCal U taking on Jungle Boy Luchasaurus and your spirit animal, Marco Stunt.
I'm sure you're mistaken. By the way, did you catch what their team name is?
No, what was it?
Jurassic Express.
Okay. I watched this match a second time. You gotta love SCU, man. They're
People
so smooth.
loved SCU.
Jungle Boy, I guess he's okay. He doesn't do much for me. Luchasaurus, I enjoy. He's a big man, does some interesting stuff. And Marco Stunt is, I mean...
he's just there.
He's just there. We've gone over Marco Stunt many times in the past.
Actually, before we go on, I have to say, remember when we did our best and worst of last year?
Yeah.
And we had two names that we wanted to see more of in 2019.
And names we want to see less of?
Yeah, and one of the names I picked to see more of was Ace Romero. Where is he now?
I think he ate himself.
And then when I heard Marco Stunt was signed with AEW, I just started thinking, could Ace Romero be far behind?
I don't know. We have not seen Ace Romero.
No, I just thought that because I remember they face each other in MLW.
All right. Well, that match itself, the match was okay. I mean, SCU definitely carried, I think, a lot of it.
I love SCU. They're so cool.
I do. I really enjoy those guys a lot.
Yep.
Our next match, Kenny Omega versus Pac.
Mm-hmm.
Pac wins with a submission. You know what? When we did our pick, this is the only time I slipped up because we posted our picks and stuff.
Yep.
And after we posted them, I realized, oh man, no, I should have picked Pac over Kenny Omega because I started thinking more like a booker. And then I realized, man, if I had done that, I would have done a lot better because I bid 20 points on Omega. This was way better of a match than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Omega doing a lot of showboating, a lot of funny stuff. Pac trying to be the super serious, want to get stuff done. Wins with a brutal end move called the Brutalizer. Good match.
I was still thinking that while you were talking about it. I was thinking, that name just slipped away because I had it on the tip of my tongue what that move was called.
Okay. Well, you know what? Here's the one thing this match suffered from. There was no build-up. There was no story here. There were just two guys thrown in together. And I think had there been some kind of buildup, if over the month they had some kind of thing, and with Omega and Pac, it could have even been a better match in people's hearts. I think that's the only thing that made this match suffer was the lack of storyline.
Okay.
All right. Moving on now. The Cracker Barrel Challenge.
Oh my God.
Because nothing.
You know what? I don't know about this match.
Nothing speaks family American dining like Darby Allin, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc. What the hell? I gotta say, this match wasn't as horrible as I thought it could be.
Okay.
I expected a horrible train wreck that I would be like couldn't stand.
Wait, they had the thumbtacks and staples after. I mean, throwing the thumbtacks down Jimmy Havoc's throat. I
kind of like that. You know how much I hate Jimmy Havoc, so I kind of like that. I think basically what really made this for me is Darby Allin. Oh man, he doesn't need to do this stuff. He's a really good wrestler on his own right. I guess maybe because he's smaller, he feels he has to do this kind of stuff. I don't know about Joey Janela. He doesn't do anything for me. And,
no, I'm not a Joey Janela fan.
And Jimmy Havoc, well, you know how much I can't stand his work. But this match was a little bit better than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be an out-and-out shit train wreck. I'll say it was just a minor derailment. Okay, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, but it was a minor derailment.
Okay.
All right. Okay. The Dark Order against the Best Friends.
Okay.
Go ahead. You start on this one.
I don't even know what to say. This match. I'm not really sold on this Dark Order team. And we've seen the Best Friends. Then at the end, we got a third member in the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy.
Okay.
This guy has got to have the stupidest gimmick.
Yep. Oh yeah. No argument there, buddy.
He just stands there with his hands in his pocket. He did a suicide dive through the ropes with his hands still in his pocket, taking out the Dark Order. I just don't get it.
This is the part where I say, like, there are things here that in this show that just don't scream big time to me, okay? The Best Friends, they're okay. They still are not, to me, the most credible big time team. But the Dark Order definitely is like B-level schlock.
Yeah, they're terrible.
And this match was B-level schlock. And this is one of the reasons that I felt this pay-per-view did not need this match. It really brought quality.
I think it was at this point to where it kind of brought the show down a little.
It didn't belong there.
For me.
It just didn't belong.
Yeah.
All right. Hikaru Shida versus Riho.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Riho weighs 95 pounds. She's tiny.
Yeah, I know, right? Wow.
But actually an enjoyable match. Kind of hard to watch, though. I mean, there's a girl running around in there looking like a miniature Sailor Moon, like a tiny little, and she wins. The other girl at least looked like a competitive wrestler.
Yep.
Good on Rio, but okay, look at her now. All 95 pounds of her is going to face Nyla Rose. Yikes. Yikes. Okay, Shawn Spears versus Cody. What did you think of this match?
Okay, this match wasn't bad. It was surprising to see Arn Anderson show up because we had Tully Blanchard and Shawn Spears' corner. Of course, we know they were both in the Horsemen and they were also the Brainbusters.
It was This again, I think is another. This match could have been so much better.
Yeah.
It was kind of there.
It was just okay for me.
Yeah, it was just okay, and this is where at this time of the thing I started to get really worried about AEW taking on NXT. This needed to be this part of this show by now should have been more of a crescendo up, and it was starting to get to the point where I was like, they better do something good to bring this back because I don't know. Then we get
you guys have a month. You better get it together.
Yeah, and then we get the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks. Wow. Yeah, fun for watching. Like, oh man, these are the kind of things that make me shake my head because sometimes with really good wrestling matches, you may see somebody do 2 or 3 really devastating maneuvers, right?
Yeah.
But to see guys take like 72 super kicks and then bounce off 3 ladders and then still get up and win the belt, I don't know, man. It's like they're like pinball machines now. I mean, for as excited and enjoyable as it was at the moment, it's like eating pixie sticks, man. You know, you shove that sugar down. It's all exciting for 3 seconds, but then afterwards you walk away with kind of an empty feeling. That's kind of how I felt with this match. All this great, crazy shit happening left and right, but at the end of it, I didn't really feel it. You know.
The only surprising part was only X showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Not really surprised because we already knew they were signing.
Right, but I get what you mean. Wow. Now I'm starting to get super worried about this company. And then the main event.
Oh boy.
Chris Jericho defeating Hangman Adam Page for the belt. Oh man.
Jericho looked terrible.
Oh my goodness, did he look terrible? Adam Page looked great. I felt sorry for the guy because you knew he wasn't going to win. Man, I get it. I get Chris Jericho is a name value, okay? But damn, man, couldn't he hit the gym a little and made himself look a little better going in? Dyed that nasty.
He looked so out of shape.
Oh, and he had like this gray facial hair. I mean, dude, you're supposed to be the world champion or something. Like, do yourself up. Look credible. Oh. Now, I got to say, at the end of watching this, I got worried. This was I'm going to give it a half-ass pay-per-view. If I had to pay $50 for this, I would have been pissed. Okay?
Oh, wow.
To be honest, I don't know if I would have paid $10 to watch all of this. There was some good stuff. There was some terrible stuff. And there was lots of half-ass stuff. For me, it makes me worried, especially since we're going to talk about the NXT UK pay-per-view. I'm going to say the quality of this, this was a letdown. This was a thumbs down for me, this pay-per-view.
Yeah, this was definitely a thumbs down for me. Oh, just some of it was just painful to get through.
Totally. Okay, folks, you know what? We've been doom and glooming it. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to take a quick talk about some of the shows we've been watching. Then we're going to... we almost forgot here. Look at me, man. We've been talking so much about this. We got so much going on. I got scatterbrain here. We still didn't announce the winners.
We have to announce the winners.
The winners of the points per the WPOV say it, man.
Pay-per-view point, the AEW All Out pay-per-view points game. The WPOV Global pay-per-view points game.
Okay, do you have a list in front of you, Elio, who won? I'm looking at for it right now.
I do. I have the names for both the champion and the underachiever.
Okay. And do you have that list that had the 10 guys who, the top 10 of it? Which we, by the way, did extremely well. Okay, you know what? First of all, 10. Announce the winner.
Okay, so first of all, the winner and new WPOV Global Champion is Paul T. Phillips.
Paul T. Phillips. Now, his name has popped up a lot. This guy knows his stuff. Congratulations, Paul. You showed Rick Serrano III how much of a pretender he was. And I'll say that because he openly admitted recently on their last show for POV that he just guessed everything. That he was surprised he'd won. He just guessed everything and he let it fall. Which made us kind of look a little stupid, I got to admit. But fine.
And I believe, do you have the name for the underachiever Beaver? Because I don't want to mess this one up. But I believe I know what it is, who it is.
Okay. Our underachiever Beaver is Alex Miller.
Okay, I thought so. I had the right name.
With a pathetically low score of minus 44.
minus 44!
Ah.
Wow,
man. What the hell, man? Oh, yeah. You know, it was fun. We went out this time. Here we go. I got in front of me some of the Elio Canella. Elio, you scored 27 points for third place.
Tomo arigato.
I scored in fourth place for 25 points. And bear in mind, if I'd been smart and actually had picked Pac like I realized I should have later, I would have finished with 47 points. I'd like to point that Mimi Goody, who was last time's underachiever Beaver, came in 7th. Tony Diaz came in 8th. And Rick, he ain't champion no more, Saka Serrano, with a beautiful minus 20.
Oh,
minus 20!
Rick, what are you doing?
Rick, you are just a few points off for being the underachiever Beaver. Well, you know what, folks? Thanks for playing. Yeah, we've just started our. We don't do it a lot. We haven't. This has only been our second game. We didn't get as many players as we hoped, but you know what? Next time, give it a try. I know it's a little tougher. Indie cards, like AEW. There's a lot of guys you may not know. There may be things coming in. I got to admit, there was a couple of wrestlers I had never even seen that I had to try and figure out who was going to do. But
these matches aren't easy to pick. I mean, figure out our first one, Double or Nothing. That was like really terrible. We did really terrible.
Yeah, I did really bad in that one too. So, folks, okay, congratulations to the winner and to the underachiever Beaver. I'm proud of one of you. Kind of disgusted at the other one. Alex Miller, get your shit in a pile. Paul P. Phillips, I guess you get to rub it in everyone's face this week, pal. Good job. Now we're going to take that quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk some NXT UK, including that great takeover special. We're also going to take a quick mention of the shows of this week's. And, come on back. We dare you. We double dog dare you. I will set Elio on fire. Anyways, trust me, with as much alcohol as he drinks, don't light a match around him.
Pyromaniac.
Hello, this is Miguel Cole from the Wrestling POV podcast. Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global is affiliated with the Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Collar and Elbow has t-shirts, hoodies, sunglasses, and more. And the best part, you're helping out your local indie wrestlers. And you're helping out the best wrestling podcast of all, Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global. You don't want to miss out. So save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Oh my goodness!
What's up? This is Jeff Cobb. You're listening to WPOV Global.
Hey guys, we're back. Elio.
Yes, sir.
Have you been drinking a lot during this? Have you been drinking a lot during this break?
Of course.
Of course you have. I'm so proud of you, buddy. No one can drink as much generic wine or beer as this guy. I love it. I love it. Anyways, you know what? We've been talking about we talked about AEW in the last segment. It wasn't the greatest, but I want to talk about what was great this week, okay? And let's talk about WWE NXT UK Cardiff Takeover.
Oh, okay.
Now, our regular show was pretty good. It wasn't the greatest. And this is just like it. I mean, you got to expect that the week before, they're not going to really show you too much, right? Just lead you in a little, some of the storylines, give you some tease and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The show itself was okay, but let's talk about the actual Cardiff show now, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to go over some of it, and I got to tell you some of what I thought. You tell me a little bit what you thought about it too, okay?
Okay.
The first match, I think, was the match that nobody really cared that much about, was Noam Dar against
Travis Banks.
Now, Noam Dar has been spending a lot of time sort of egging on. He's been very egotistical, very snotty, and to the point where everyone basically wanted Banks to win this one. But Noam Dar wins with the Shining Wizard, walks out. Okay match, pretty good match actually. Even though Noam Dar has been we already discussed how this was the one match we weren't really all that caring about anyways.
Yep.
You know? Now how about this? The second match.
This was surprising.
Like a match,
I already knew he would be there. I just didn't know
we knew he was coming.
Yep.
But we didn't know what match he'd be in. But what a good match. Ilya Dragunov fighting Cesaro.
Yeah, this was great.
Cesaro won. And he did some stuff, but you know what? Dragunov really kind of brought himself up a level. He looked good in there. Mm-hmm. You know, I was a little bit worried when he lost to who's that big goof with the cottage cheese legs?
Cassius Ohno.
When he lost to him, I was thinking, have they given up on Dragunov? You know, but I think this was a good recovery. Like, sure, he didn't win the match, but he came out looking good.
Yep.
He looked strong. He gave a great showing against Cesaro. Enjoyed it a lot. Another match we weren't all that caring about was the Grizzled Young Veterans putting their belts against Gallus and the team of Flash Morgan, Webster, and Mark Andrews, or Mandrews.
And we have new champs.
And it was kind of one of those things where, it's because they're the hometown guys. It really made, for the people there, it was super exciting. You know, Flash Morgan, Webster, and Mandrews winning the belt. They were pretty much the guys I didn't think would win the belt. I mean, let's face it, if they weren't in Cardiff fighting, they would not have won the belt. But it is what it is. It was an okay match, not bad. It wasn't a letdown by any means. Now this is where it got good. Like really, really, really good. And I'm talking about Dave Mastiff against Joe Coffey, last man standing match. These guys brutalized
This is the third time we're saying a match between Joe Coffey and Dave Mastiff is good.
Yeah, man, they beat the shit out of each other, man. This was a damn good match. This was like the old days of wrestling where two big dudes just like went to town for a long time, you know? At the end, I didn't know who was going to come out. I started to actually feel more for Dave Mastiff just because, you know, Coffey's kind of a douche rag, but Coffey wins. And I think we all won because it was a fun Total War match. Really enjoyed it. Toni Storm losing her belt to Kaylee Ray. Good match, but I thought Toni Storm really deserved to come out on this one. She looked really good in here. I guess we're going to finally see if Kaylee Ray is worth more, if she's more than the hype that we've seen against her. Because really...
Yeah, this is her chance to show us something.
Definitely. And then the main event, Walter versus Tyler Bates. When this first was announced, I didn't care that much. It's like Tyler Bates against... But the last couple of weeks, the build-up for this has been phenomenal. And I got to say, awesome match. There were so many times that it seemed like Tyler Bate was going to be the champion again. Enjoyed the hell out of this. Seeing Walter smack someone around, seeing him getting smacked around like he did. It was good stuff. And overall, I really felt this was the stronger of the two pay-per-views. I mean, this definitely blew AEW out of the water. There were no matches that sucked. There were no matches where you totally questioned what you were seeing or questioned the wrestlers involved deserving to be there. I found it a very solid card.
See, they know what they're doing on NXT UK.
Now, how would you compare this to the AEW one?
Much better show than the AEW one.
Okay. Now, I gotta admit,
I'm giving this one a thumbs up.
I'm giving it a thumbs up. I gotta admit, I am makes me a little more slightly scared for AEW going up against NXT. I'm not sure what we're gonna see here. You know what I mean? Now, a quick rundown of the three shows we usually watch. Ring of Honor Television basically had a packaging of a whole bunch of stuff you've seen before, which we said we've liked, but the part I didn't like this week is they showed us one new match the entire time. And that was a match where Mark Haskins and Bandito of Lifeblood defeated Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. Overall, I would give this show a thumbs in the middle. Not enough new stuff, a little bit too reliant on packaging of other stuff. And like I said, we'll probably be downplaying ROH quite a bit unless something turns around for them because it's starting to feel like they're kind of going through the motion. You know what I mean? Okay. Our second show, of course, was WWE NXT UK, which itself was going into one of these kind of matches was sort of like, you know, we got a couple matches. Like we had a pretty solid match with Ilya Dragunov defeating Tyson T-Bone, which brought Dragunov back up into our eyes a little bit. Joseph Connors versus Oliver Carter. You know what?
I know what you're talking about now. When you said that Oliver Carter looks like the old Kofi.
Yeah. I found it kind of strange that they gave him a whole preview of him coming, and then he loses to Joseph Connors of all people.
Another good debut.
Yeah, not a strong debut. And then Kenny Williams versus Jordan Devlin. Kenny Williams, man, this guy is way too small. He's definitely should be always in a light heavyweight division. And Jordan Devlin, I don't know, man. I don't want to be mean, but he reminds me of that midget guy from Lord of... What is it? The one of the dragons. Game of Thrones.
Peter Dinklage.
He's like Peter Dinklage's younger brother, I guess. They have the same face. So, yeah, I would give this week's... Of course, it was still a thumbs up. There was some good stuff. Not great stuff.
Yeah.
And then finally, our big thing of the week for MLW, they only had a couple matches. I cannot stand Jordan Oliver, Myron Reed, and Cotto Brazil. The three of them together, they took on the team of Airwolf, he's okay. Gringo Loco, who, man, he just does shit for a guy who doesn't look like he could do that. And I'm digging the Zenshi guy from Chile. He really impresses me with the way he moves. Unfortunately, Brazil, Reed, and Oliver get the win. But That's what cheating gets you, I suppose. There was a bunch of other silly things on there. And then the main event. Tom Lawler getting his rematch against Jacob Fatu for the MLW World Championship. Pretty solid match. Ends, of course, with Joseph Samael hitting Lawler in the back of the head with the spike. Lawler goes down. Then it's a free-for-all. All of Contra runs in, including their new guy. The Von Erichs come out. And then finally, the reveal of the fourth guy in the ring. Low Key comes out, scares the crap out of Contra, which was nice to see, and runs him out of the ring. So that's the 4 men we're looking at, and I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. I think I like that idea. I like Low Key in this team. So I would give
this War Chambers on September 7th next week.
Now I give MLW this week a thumbs up. You know what? We haven't done this for a little while. Are you ready, my friend?
I am ready.
I think it's time that you, opened the book of shame.
All right, let's go get the book.
I got somebody new for the book of shame.
Okay. Someone new for the book of shame. All right.
But first of all, let's go over our past transgressors in the book of shame.
Okay, so let's open the book here. And our first entry is Ace Austin +1.
Ace Austin. Now, I haven't seen you for a week because we've been staying away from Impact. But man, you are a freaking joke. And I don't mean a joke like we get to laugh along with you. We're laughing at you, buddy. We're laughing at you because you're pathetic. You do little magic tricks like a 12-year-old. Not cool. You're the nerd who gets beat up on the bus. You stay in.
Then we have Facade.
Facade, you know what? I'm going to do you a favor, Facade. I have never seen you since the day we put you in here. And I doubt we'll ever see you again. But we're going to do you a favor. We're going to keep you in the book because this is probably the only bit of infamy or fame you'll ever get. So, Facade, we pitifully keep you in the book.
Then we have that word that begins with F.
Always. Hate that word.
Jimmy Havoc.
Ugh. You know what? Now he's over in AEW. Yeah, Jimmy Havoc, your nonsense, your staples and tacks and your black fingernail paint and your makeup and your gas mask and your beanpole look. You look like you're 145 pounds of poop piled up. You stay on, Jimmy Havoc. You stay on. Your accent can't even make you sound cool. You're a piece of shit, dude.
Kenny King.
That's all I got to say about him. He's so freaking boring. He deserves to be in the book.
Madman Fulton.
Guilt by association. You're going to hang out with the crap that is Callahan and OVO. You stay in.
Casey Lennox.
Wow. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on her.
Oh.
Maybe she's one of those people who the government pays half of her pay because she can't hold a job because of mental incapacitation. Maybe I'm just being mean. But probably not. She just seems like the stupidest backstage interviewer I've ever seen. Yeah, you stay in there, Casey.
Then we have the Christ brothers.
Oh, gosh. Like I said, these guys are garbage, man. If it wasn't for the fact that they were hanging out with Sami Callihan, who himself is a piece of trash, yeah, they stay in the book. I mean, these guys hit chicks on national television, for God's sakes.
Then we have the Hunt.
Well, Hunt. I'm almost tempted to let you out of the book. Almost. But you are still kind of cartoons in a world where cartoons are 30 years dead, so I'm going to say you stay in, guys.
And then in our chapter of Perpetual Losers, we have Nigel McGuinness.
You will always stay Nigel McGuinness. I hate you. I hate you so much.
Damn, TJ, tell us how you really feel.
I hate him!
And we have Sami Callihan ×6.
Ugh, so gross. The walking warthog deserves what he gets. The only fear I ever have is someday I'm going to be forced to interview this guy and play nice. But he disgusts me. He disgusts me.
And then our final entry in the chapter of Perpetual Losers is Tommy Dreamer.
Why won't you die, Tommy Dreamer? So many good wrestlers have died. Why can't a bad wrestler like you die? I don't know. He's just everything that's wrong with wrestling.
And
washed up, old, pathetic loser, still walking around in his polka dot, crappy pants, trying to be relevant when he wasn't even relevant when he was around in his prime. You suck, Dreamer. Okay.
And that's our book. Okay.
No, that is not our book because I
No,
have
I mean
entry.
that's the current entries.
Okay. Are you ready now?
I'm ready.
My entry into the book, and I think this should be pretty obvious.
Oh.
But here's a wrestler that was kind of forced on me this week, and I've heard about him, and I can't stand him,
Uh-oh.
and that's Evil Uno. Evil Uno of the Dark Order, this fat, out of shape, disgusting masked wrestling slob who doesn't even look like a cool masked fat dude. He's just a fat dude in a mask, and he's a terrible wrestler.
Hold on. Wait. What about the other guy?
Oh, the other guy is pathetic, but he's not. He's like the drizzly parts of the shit, while Uno is the turd itself. Okay.
Oh, bad image.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strong image, wasn't it? You know what? The hell with it. The Dark Order. Both you losers get in, but I want a check mark beside Evil Uno because he's even fatter and grosser.
All right, Dark Order is
Especially Evil Uno.
We'll put Uno in brackets.
Okay, so announce it.
All right, Dark Order, especially Evil Uno, you are the newest entry in the book.
Perfect.
You just read the book! Oh, shame.
Perfect. All right, folks, you know what? A lot of stuff going on in wrestling right now. We hope you guys are really trying to keep a track of it. The big war is coming. Will it be a big war? Will it be a skirmish? I'm afraid sometimes I fear it might be just a bit of a blip on the radar, but I'm hoping AEW pulls up the stops.
It might just be a shouting match.
Yeah, it might just boil down to a whole lot of nothing. And I'm hoping that's not the case. Okay?
Yep.
But you know what, fans? We've had a great time this week. We had so much to cover, it seems like. It seems like lately there's been so much. I didn't even talk about New Japan this week. We just didn't have a chance. Nothing big. There was a card. I am going to quickly say just two results so you guys know. Okada did beat Minoru Suzuki in a great match there. And in a very surprising match, Tanahashi defeats Zack Sabre Jr. for the British heavyweight title.
That's surprising.
That was a surprising. Check that one out. It's the Royal. What is it? The
Quest.
Royal Quest. You guys see it online. Check it out. Good main event. A lot of undercard stuff. We'll talk some more New Japan next week. And like we said, as AEW starts to develop, we're going to have a lot more stuff going on there. Elio, buddy.
Yes, sir.
By the power of Alanis and her love, please cut down on the women and the alcohol, man. I need you, partner. I don't need you dead of AIDS. I don't need you dead of blowing up liver or whatever crap you LPs do. I need you wrestling here because no one had the steel balls to sit through the entire G1 with me this year than you. For that alone, I will put up with all your womanizing and alcoholic bullshit. For that alone. Now, folks, we are affiliated with Wrestling POV. They are our sister show. As you find us every Wednesday, you can find Wrestling POV featuring the dashing yet largely obese Tony Gutierrez. Oh, Jesus. The alluring Mimi Goody. The sometimes questionable Rick Serrano III. And I ain't even going to tell you what the hell that puppet's about. I got no idea. That Miguel Cole just freaks me the fuck out. But anyways, those guys, you can find them every Saturday on, we've already said it was Spotify, iHeartRadio, whoa,
iTunes.
Podbean. I actually got these things. iTunes. I actually saying this shit. Wow.
There you go. I'm proud of you.
Somebody's got to be. Fans, write us. Tell us what you think. We're curious. I'm curious about some of the winners and some of the top people who wrote in and played the game and got good points. I'm interested in some of the picks you did. I'm going to call you out this week on Paul T. Phillips. I'm gonna call you out on some of your picks and ask why did you pick that? Why, what did you know that I didn't know? Mm-hmm. But you know what, fans? We do have a Facebook page. We are on Facebook.
At Wrestling POV Podcast.
Right. Tell them the other media junk, man.
Wrestling POV1 on Instagram and Wrestling POV on Twitter.
And if you look for Miguel Cole, he has a special Grindr account for puppets with big holes. Take a look at that. All right. Do not swipe left. Anyhow, Elio, it's been a great time. I I would like to say to all our fans all across North America, we love you. All of our fans in Europe, in Asia, down in Australia, New Zealand, and a big privyet to all my Russian fans. Quit sending me Russian threats. I'm just a guy. Folks, we love you. Have yourselves a good week. Elio, say goodbye to the fine people.
All right, listeners, we'll talk to you all next week.